right, on the way to the deer camp. It's been an interesting day getting ready to head up there. For me, this is the first real time bow hunting. Now, Joel, this week is for Joel what July 4th week is for me with the fishing rodeo. Joel loves to bow hunt so much. He's so excited. Yeah, we just got word that his flight was going to be delayed by like 3 hours. He wasn't going to get into Kansas City until almost midnight, and then Dad was going to go get him, and it was just going to be really tough because, of course, we want to jump right on those stands Friday morning. But thankfully, we said some prayers, and they found another plane. So I had already turned up to go to the camp, but I'm rerouting on some back roads, seeing some new territory, and I'm headed back to Kansas City. Gonna pick Joel up, and there's 2 deer right now, 3 deer out in the field. So it's feeling real bow hunting right now. We are so super pumped. Joel's on the way in safe and sound. I saw deer running around at work outside my window, and it's just going to be a great week together with family. Got some great pictures on the camera of gator and some really nice, incredible 8 points, some other great deer. So my goodness, what can we say? It's going to be a great week together with family, and somebody ought to see a good deer. So hey, you know, what more can you ask for? We're going to have a great time. Stay tuned. I'm so glad you made it. I was so worried with all those delays. All right. Okay, it's 6 a.m. We're about to get out there. It's been an interesting evening. I think we've got about 4 hours of sleep. I'm betting 1,000. I forgot my pillows. I forgot the camera. I took a wrong turn. We didn't get in until after midnight. And who can sleep the night before you get out there? So anyway, like I say, I think we're running on less than 4 hours. And it is winds of about 20 something miles an hour. So we're going to get out there and just see what happens. Day one, we started out with Dad and I hunting what I call Grand Central, and that's a place just set up on a food plot with a lot of different trails coming together. And we got started early that morning by setting up a decoy just before daylight, hoping that a buck cruising by would see the decoy and come trying to take a look and figure out what's going on. Right off the bat, as we're getting set up in the blind, Dad spots some deer moving in the food plot. We open up, and here we go. It was just non-stop action. We counted over a dozen, or right at a dozen deer that first morning, so we were super excited. That's 2 deer. That's 2. There's a third one. There's 3 out there. What else do we have?
Yeah, so far it's got.
Okay, tell me about how this works.
Okay. When you look through it, there's a crosshair. And then this
There's
group.
4 dots.
Okay, the one at the top. Let me look through it a second.
Oh, shoot. You know, I can't believe they heard something.
They what?
They heard something.
Yeah, I know, but this way and they can be. All right, let's. All right, you look. They're still down there. Hey, listen, you got dots and you got lines. The top line is 20 yards. We ain't gonna shoot them does right now. Let's just let them.
I don't want to know. We need to know what that decoy is. And then to that tree. Range to the decoy. Range to that tree.
The decoy is 27 yards.
Okay.
Now,
They're coming to us. They're
yeah,
getting to us.
okay. What we want to do is just be still and let them walk on by.
Yeah. we see an 8-point come out at the end of the food plot, and things got really exciting really quickly. We take a look and realize he's seeing the decoy from the back corner of the blind. He's so intrigued by that decoy. He's standing up in the back of that plot, and we're trying to decide if he's going to come on out. He does ease out. Dad gets eyes on him through the binoculars and then hands him to me and says, you know, do you want to shoot him? And it's day 1 of the hunt, and I say, as I look him over in the binoculars, I don't know if he's a shooter. By day 5, I know he was a shooter. But we watch as he starts moving our way, and of course one of the things that makes bow hunting so difficult is they've got to be so close. They need to be inside of 50 yards for me to feel comfortable with a shot. And this deer at that point is still over 90 yards away. We're watching him come closer, but he's a little unsure of the decoy and uncomfortable, and so he peels off out of the food plot and leaves us wondering if he's going to tuck back in. We grunt call a few times but can't get him back to that decoy. And so I leave day 1 realizing this is a little tougher than it seems, because you've got to close the distance on these deer. And when you're hunting a food plot, it's great with a rifle. It's really tricky with a bow because you've got to get that deer to come really close to get a good ethical shot. We just got done with morning hunt number 1. We had a really exciting morning after a very late night, and almost everything that seemed could go wrong did, and all kind of stuff I forgot and took a wrong turn, and a long night. But we got out here this morning and had to get all oriented with the first day in the blind and all the gear and all of this kind of thing. And I think we're still in the process of getting situated when you looked out and saw those doe coming into the food plot. So we had 4 doe,
Right.
and then that little buck come running across, chased them out. They all disappeared. Then we had another doe and yearling come through, and she really wanted, if it got close to that decoy, trying to figure out that decoy. And then I look up and see this big buck looking across to the decoy from the back corner of the food plot. I would love to know how much that buck weighed. He may not have been old, but it was a big-bodied deer.
Yeah.
So we,
and he was a kind of heavy 8-point. He just didn't have long time.
yeah, he really, if you would have gotten close to that decoy, we would have had to really look hard. But I think he didn't want any part of that decoy. So he cleared out, and that made it an easy decision. And the wind has been bad gusty, so we're going to go ahead and go on in and start to work with some things around the camp and hit them again this evening. Okay, we're back in the stand that we started the day with. We were in here about 3 minutes. We hadn't even gotten set up, and a huge doe yearling came through. So we've got the decoy set up, same setup as this morning, but closer to us, and we're going to try to get it done again this evening. And just as it's getting to that nice part right before sunset, I see movement out of my peripheral vision and look over and see a buck moving just feet from the blind. And so I bump Dad and say, right here, right here. And we watch as this young deer, this young buck, comes around and approaches the decoy. And the rest was pretty fun to watch. We had a great time watching the young buck interact with the decoy, and nightfall closed in on us as he finally decided he just wasn't quite big enough and strong enough to take on the decoy, and he eased out, and we did the same. Day 2, we're getting ready to head out. Somebody's gonna get one this morning. I just feel it.
Wood.
Amen, right? Okay, here we go. Well, it's the end of the morning of day 2. We didn't see anything on our stand, but Joel was not too far from us and had an 8 or 9 point brushing up a scrape near him, so that's exciting. So he didn't get a shot at him, but that's really exciting, so we're gonna stay at it. Man, I wish you'd had that GoPro with you this morning.
No, you don't.
Why?
'Cause I was so mad I was gonna throw something, and I liked my bow too much that
Oh.
on the GoPro. So
Come on now. What happened?
They need some more limbs cut.
Oh yeah.
I need that.
Monday, they're talking about possible rain. Well, me and you'll come over
Brad's
Monday.
bringing his limb saw, and
We
I got
won't
the
even
other
need
limb
that.
saw. Huh?
We don't even need that. We need the little tall one.
What do they?
Which I mean,
And
you
see-
could use Brad's, but there ain't no need to make the noise. There are some closer to the ground, but they're so small.
Yeah.
Why fire up a
Yeah, they
deal
small.
make noise?
Besides, you young and strong.
So y'all gonna finally give that stand a break, or y'all gonna
Yeah,
keep
we done with it for a while. That's what we got to do. We got to talk about where we're going this evening and where we're going in the morning, so we'll know what we don't want to do this evening.
So I aim like bottom of the lungs, top of the heart, and like I said, these deer may not duck as much, but whenever we were in Florida on public land and we hunted in Mississippi and all that, them deer go they. So I aim just a little low. A lot of people aim trying to double lung, and they're kind of up, and if that deer drops, either over their back or in that pouch area that you don't want to hit.
That second evening, Dad and I set up on a place we call Santa Land because of all the cedar trees that look like Christmas trees. And we see some does moving around early in the evening, and we think this is going to be a great evening. And it's a beautiful, beautiful spot. Just at sunset, we hear coyotes nearby just going crazy. They're howling, they're carrying on, and we begin to realize, hey, they're really close. We're still optimistic a deer is going to come out when all of a sudden 3 coyotes come out of the thicket we're watching. We consider shooting one of the coyotes since they're such terrible predators and really decimate the deer herd, but we've got the crossbow set up and we don't want to ruin the chance if a deer comes out. As I'm trying to get footage of these coyotes, my camera malfunctions. So I'm fighting with it. I kind of scare one of the coyotes, which I thought was a good thing. They start moving out, and we're trying to get rearranged and ready, hoping that while they might have wiped out any deer close by, maybe another set would pass through just at dark. A few minutes go by, and we notice that a coyote starts circling back. And we watch as the coyote goes in the woods, about 30 yards just to our right. There he goes, there he goes, there he goes. And no sooner does he step foot in those woods when something just explodes in front of us. I'm trying to get the coyote on film when all of a sudden my dad is whisper screaming, "Buck, buck!" and I look over just to see this gorgeous 8-point with this heavy rack explode out of that thicket and just blow right through in front of us. Beautiful deer. He was set up to walk out right perfectly into our setup. Everything was just starting to fall into place, and that coyote circling back jumped him, and he blew out.
That black coyote went in there and spooked him. Oh, God. Yeah, that was wrong. They spooked him out. I mean, we saw that coyote go back in. That buck would have come out.
I was too excited in the moment to be disappointed, but I realized again why bow hunting is so tough. Everything has to work out just right, and if you have one variable off, the whole hunt just falls apart. In this case, the setup was perfect, the timing is right, the deer is 10 yards from walking into our shooting lane. Everything was right, and what we couldn't control was that pack of coyotes and that lone coyote that circled back and jumped that deer. You can have everything ready, and there are always these variables outside of our control. That's another reason bow hunting is so tough. The thing I focused on was, hey, we're all here together having a great time. Let's just enjoy the moment, and tomorrow's a new day.
You can tell them about how to do tag soup, tag sandwich, tag gravy.
Yes, unfortunately.
Tag.
Unfortunately, yes.
Your turn, Daddy.
I'm just leaving the school. I was teaching my class and Dad started calling my phone, and I was a good teacher and got through the rest of the class, and the minute I left class I got Dad on the phone, and here I am sharing the exciting news. He just shot the biggest deer he's ever shot at, and oh, we're so excited. He found blood on the arrow. He found a pretty good blood trail. He's going to get the buggy and he's going to come back and start trailing him, and we're just praying it's an easy trail, easy to track, and that he's able to recover this great deer. It was a hard bow hunt, and Joel and I both had what should have been great 8 or 9 points, and you know, we just had, oh goodness, our opportunities were thwarted, but of all people, we absolutely wanted Dad to get a great deer. So excited, can't wait to see this deer, just praying he recovers it. Bow hunting is hard, but when it all comes together, what a thrilling experience. I can tell Dad is super excited, and he should be. It sounds like an amazing deer. We're so excited he had this opportunity. Just praying he recovers this deer easily, and can't wait to see it and see him with this great deer.
Well, this is my good 10-point killed yesterday on the last day we was gonna be here before we went home to our sweet wives. And I didn't think of the angle I was shooting him at. I hit him at the right place, but I was angled and missed his heart. And if Brad wouldn't have been here to help me, because he found blood I just couldn't see with my old eyes. So if it wouldn't have been for Brad, we wouldn't have recovered him. But we bumped him yesterday morning. After I'd shot him, we gave him 4 or 5 hours. Well, we gave him 8 hours. Came back a little before dark, trailed him, found him, and I shot him again in the neck. Well, I didn't shoot him as good in the neck as I should have. I was trying to angle into the body. He got up and run off. Made me sick. We came this morning, the good Lord blessed us, and Brad found him. So this is me and Brad's fine 10-point from Missouri. We hope we kill plenty more. We're glad we got him. Got him out of the blind that me and Brad put up a few months ago. Came in here together and put up. So this is one for me, Brad, and Team Alexander, as Leanne calls it.
So when it was all said and done, what we came away with is the memories of being together, and that's always what's most important. We saw some great deer, had a good time, and we're already starting to talk about gun season. It's just a couple of weeks away. We left some great deer in the woods that we are going to be looking for when we come back.